So you want to start your business or you want to start your NGO, but you're not quite sure of the documents that CAC requires or the documents that are required for registration. I'm going to be sharing with you a breaking down, the requirements for registering, a business, a limited liability company, and also, an NGO. I'm going to be explaining it for you bit by bit. Now, the documents that you need to prepare for or the documents that you need to have are not that, complex. They're very simple documents, but it's very important, that you already have your documents on ground or basically to just, have the knowledge of the documents, that you need. So let's break it down. So I'm going to be categorizing it into three sections. There's going to be business name, which is, a small business, and then company, a limited liability company, limited by shares, which is the most popular or the most registered business in Nigeria. And then I'm also going to be talking about incorporated trustees. That's the ones that fall under churches, mosques, clubs, associations, and then charitable organizations. So the first one I'm going to be starting with is business name. So the first thing you need, with the way CSC portal is now automated, initially we used to use like you need to have like two or three name options. Now you just need to apply for the availability and you will get it immediately. I did a video on how you can do that. I'm going to put the link in the description, so you want to go watch that video. So the first thing you need is the name of the business. Usually it could end with enterprises, ventures, or it could just be a name, but make sure that it is not one name. It should be at least two names. Like I can say Joy Ventures. It shouldn't just be Joy or Joy's Bridals or Joy's enterprises or something like that. Let it sound like businessy. And then the second one you need is, these are also the requirements. You need passport size photograph. You need means of identification, has to be either your NIN, international passport, driver's license, or you permanent voters card. They don't accept temporary voters card. It should be your permanent voters card. And then signature, because everything is done electronically now. You would need to sign, like I always tell my clients, you need to sign on a white piece of paper. Yes, that's how we get your signature. Okay. So, and then particulars of proprietor. If it is a business name, usually it is a sole proprietor, but you can also register it, with other partners. Like if you have like a partnership, but usually it's a sole proprietor. That's why we call it a one-man business. You need to have the details, of the proprietor, which is what I said, that passport photograph, the ID card, of the proprietor, the signature, occupation, date of birth. I'm going to put a link of all the documents that I'm mentioning now in the description, so you can just click on it and get that information. And then after that, so that's basically it, because there are no shareholders in a business name. And then the statutory fee to register the business, which is around, now I know they increased the fees. I'm not sure if they started enforcing it, but it's around like 10,000, 11,000 or 12,000 basically. So you can have that ready. Another thing you need, that's if you're registering it by yourself. But if you're registering it, if you're using a lawyer to register, just definitely be sure that it's going to cost you more than that. So the next one we're talking about now is the company. So that's the company limited by shares, which is the most popular registration in the corporate affairs in Nigeria today, and is the one that a lot of people use most generally. So the required documents to register a company are the names, of course, and just be sure that the name must end with limited, either LTD or the word full limited, spelled out. Sometimes people ask me, what's the difference between limited and LTD? They are both the same thing. It's just that limited has been shortened into LTD. Let's say your name is really long, your name is in 4 letters, and you don't want the limited to be make it extra long. You can just use LTD. Or the name is a bit short, maybe like 2 words, and then you want to use a long limited. It really doesn't matter. They are both the same thing. Okay, because of the instant reservation, you can just even have one name, and then the CSC will let you know if that name is going to be approved or if they're going to deny it. If they're going to deny it, you want to they're going to suggest other names that you can use as well. Then the second thing is the registered address of the business. That's that's the office. And I wanted to clarify something on this one. That particular office can also be, your house address. It really doesn't matter, but you need to have an address that is identifiable, an address that they can easily locate. It should have, number so this number Joy, number 1 Joy Street. It should always have, a number, an address that somebody can easily trace and identify. So the next document you will need also is a memorandum and articles of association. So because of the way it is now, there's also an automated one on the portal. You don't have to prepare a separate one and submit it. You can just put it, in the when you're filling the form or when you're registering the business. I also did a video on how to, register a company. I'm also going to leave the link in the description so you can watch that video. The video here, you can go and watch it. Okay, so the memorandum means the object. What is the company going to be doing? Are you going to be selling crayfish? Are you going to be selling shoes? Are you going to be offering consultancy services? Are you going to be selling generators, spare parts? What exactly is the business you're going to do? That's what a memorandum and articles generally mean. So you don't need to, it's not rocket science, right? You don't need to go and manufacture articles if you don't properly understand it, right? You can just adopt the one already on the CAC portal. So another thing you also need is the share capital. What's the share capital going to be? And another thing I will also say is, the minimum share capital is 100,000, right, for small business, and it can go more than that. It can be up to 1 billion. So, but the minimum is 100,000. But the thing is, the price of 100,000 shares is the same as 1 million shares. So there's no difference. So I would just rather advise, my clients to go with the 1 million share capital. How are you going to distribute that share capital, right? Are you going to give some to this person or that person? Or are you going to be a sole, shareholder or a sole director? Another thing is you need the information of your shareholders and your directors, which includes, their names, their occupation, their email address, their phone numbers, what each shareholder is going to be having. If you're just going to be a sole director and a sole shareholder, then definitely, that it's just your information that's going to be there. So I'm also going to leave a description or I'm going to leave, a link as well in the description on the list of documents free of charge. You don't have to pay any money for it. Just click on it and you will get, that information. Remember that their ID cards are also important. For companies, you don't need a passport photograph. All you need, is a signature on a white piece of paper and, their ID cards. So it is the government approved ID cards. They don't accept school ID cards. They don't accept work ID card. It has to be your NIN, international passport, your biodata page of your international passport, yes, and then your driver's license or your permanent voters card. Now with the issue of shareholders, bear in mind that children cannot be directors, minors cannot be directors, they can only be shareholders. So even if you're adding your children, you can only add them as shareholders, and they need to have government ID cards. They cannot use their school ID card. So another information that you need to have is the address of your shareholders. You can also use, if it's your home address, you can also use the same registered address for your directors and for your shareholders. If it is a small company, then you will not need the details of company secretary. But if it's a company that is big, then you want to put a company secretary, and one of the directors can also stand as a secretary as well, because I get asked that question a lot of times. So those are the documents that CAC will require you to have to register a company. So the third one is what we call incorporated trustee, also known as companies, NGOs or charitable organizations or churches and mosques. So if these documents will also stand also for companies that are limited by guarantee. I also did a video on the difference so you can understand what I'm talking about. But this particular one, you will be needing also the name as well. Now for an incorporated trustee, it's not the same way you register it as the way you register a company or a business name. You have to apply for the consent of the registrar general, and the consent of the registrar general requires that you apply 3 names. It's not instant approval because they really take care in this particular registration. So you want to make sure that if it is a charitable organization, that the name fits that particular category. It will also be required to end with either association, either club, or either maybe charitable or church, or sometimes you will need to ministry. Some people use ministry, or it has to end with mosque or something like that. So you want to make sure of that. It can also end with initiative, right? You can use initiative, you can use any other word that is charitable in nature to end that. So you want to apply for the consent, and you will require all the documents for registration. Yes, the name availability consent requires that all the information. So that's all the information of all your trustees, their name, their ID cards, their passport photograph. Very important. I'm also going to leave a link for all the required documents for that you will need to register an NGO. Yes. So you require all the names of trustees. You have to indicate who the chairman is, who the secretary is as well. You also need, the registered address of the NGO. Like I said, it can also be your house, but make sure, that the it is very identifiable. You also be needing your constitution. What exactly are you going to be doing in the NGO? What are you planning to do? Is it very charitable in nature? Take note of that. If it's a church, what is the ministry going to be about? What are people going to be doing? If it's an association of what? What exactly will be happening there? You also want to state in your constitution how many members, the minimum number of members, maximum number of members, how you'll be getting funds, because we know it's a charitable organization. You're not allowed to do business and earn profit. So how will you sustain the NGO? Is it going to be from donations? Is it going to be from contribution of members? Is it going to be from dues? You need to state that exactly. You also need minutes of meeting of all your members agreeing to the fact that you want to register it, and what the object will also be. Another important part of it is a trustees declaration, that is signed by notary public, or a or in the courts, by a commissioner for oath. And then you also need, the minutes. You also need, sorry, a newspaper publication, published in a national daily newspaper. I did a DIY of how you can register your NGO by yourself. I did a step-by-step guide, very easy, that anybody can easily understand. If you want that, you want to click on the link and get that particular toolkit on how you can register your NGO by yourself. Very easy and very straightforward. So those are the documents you need to register an NGO. I'm going to be putting all the links in the description for all the requirements for registering. So if you want to register your business and you don't know how to go about it, you want to first plan and prepare and get all these documents that I've explained in this video. If you have any questions, you want to leave it in the description. I'm going to be putting my phone number in the description, but it will only be for WhatsApp messages only. I'm not going to be taking calls from anybody. If you want to ask questions, you bought the DIY and you're having a bit of trouble, or you need help with anything, you want to let me know by WhatsApp, or you leave your questions, or send me an email, and I'm going to respond to you. Don't forget, to subscribe to this channel, put on your notification bell, so each time I post a video, you get notified. Thank you guys for watching. Until I see you legal besties in my next video.